How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Benji's Logs and Whatnots. I am Benji. I've decided to come and have a little bit of a sit down out the back, and we've had some sneaky little bloody sulfur-crested cockatoos pinching stuff out of our little bloody garden here. The little bloody blikers. One of them's got a lettuce leaf, and the other one's got some bloody tomatoes. We had a little tomato plant that decided to grow, and one of them's decided to bloody well grab that, the cheeky biker. Bloody birds. I suppose that's what you kind of get for, as you'd say, giving up after a certain amount of bloody time. But you know what, that's fine. You know, we've grown some things out of that, and we're very happy with that, to say the least. But that's not what this video is about. I've decided that I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of a backstory on my life. And no, I'm not doing this to get viewers or anything else. It is more or less to give you guys a bit more of a backstory on your boy Benji. First little bit of backstory is your boy is, as you would say, a bush kid. I grew up in almost central Queensland for 14 years, born and raised up there for 14 years, and if you guys remember where we go fishing for the eels, that is pretty much the density that we used to live in, something like that. A lot of trees and a lot of crevices and everything else. Did a lot of exploring around there. That's why I've got such a strong love for the outdoors, as before all this social media came, YouTube, video games and everything else, that's all we did. We'd jump on the bike, go for a ride, go for an explore around in the bush. Do I ever miss it? Hell yes. Abso-friggin-lutely. I do miss it every single friggin' day. That's why I've got that backpack, bucket and everything else, because I would love to just chuck that on the back and walk away from society, work and everything else in between, and just live off the land. But being the size that I am, and as you guys know with that other thing, it's a bit bloody hard to do so. Not only that, I didn't exactly have a bad growing up, or a good one for that matter, and I think a lot of people have that experience. Most of the time it was pretty good, sometimes it was pretty bad. There were times that were questionable. One thing that your boy went through for 6 years was a bit of SA, sexual abuse, from a certain family member. I'm not going to name names. Being an 8.5-year-old kid when it first started with autism and ADHD, didn't know any better. After a while I did start thinking it was normal, but when I got a bit older I knew it was definitely not normal, and it did leave, as you would say, a bit of mental scarring, depression, anxiety, all that sort of thing, and a lot of emotional damage as well. Didn't know how to regulate a lot of things, anger, fear, depression and all that sort of thing. When I was about 21, 22, I did go and see a counsellor for a bit, and that did seem to help, but she was more or less to help with the anxiety and depression, which, don't get me wrong, I have learned a few things to help regulate that nowadays. I could go on antidepressants and all that sort of thing, but you know, most of the time I'm doing pretty good. There are days where it's just like F the world and this, that and everything else. That sort of thing has given me a different point of view on people. I do look at people and I just get that feeling of ick, and nope, don't want anything to do with those people, especially the people that are, as you would say, narcissistic, which is the person that did the thing. It was quite a narcissistic person. It was all about him, all about what he wanted and everything else in between. Didn't care about the damage that it caused me, but you know, it did stop when I was about 14. That was about 21 and a half, 22 years ago now. So I am slowly recovering. I know that I do need to go and see a trauma specialist, because there is still quite a bit of underlying things within myself. I know that for a fact. It's just getting a certain thing out of one's to go and do it. You know, there was a few other times as well with the folks that sort of made me not so much trust people, as you would say, but not rely on people, is the fact that I couldn't rely on them with a lot of things, especially telling them anything, because there was a few times where I would tell them something and they would turn around and basically call me a liar. There was one time that I went to the pool with school. Once a month we'd go to the pool for a swim day, or to learn how to swim better, whatever. But mind you, being a Queenslander, we had an in-ground pool, so we swam a lot, but didn't have any issues with the home pool. It was only when we went to the public pool that basically we copped an ear infection. So with that ear infection, the next day it was a very dull ache, and I basically turned to Mum and said, I've got a sore ear. And without a hesitation, she slightly turned to me and says, with attitude, no you don't, you're going to school. I realised from that point forward that I couldn't rely on, well, me folks to basically tell them anything for that matter. I was bullied in school quite a lot as well for being different, autistic and ADHD combined in the one little package. So I didn't really have many friends. I had a lot of friends that were very similar to me, that had learning disabilities or other mild to sometimes severe other disabilities, cerebral palsy, things like that, wheelchair bound or speech impediments. I found that they were more my type of people, because they didn't judge me, they didn't bully me, they didn't care, they liked me for the person that I was. And yeah, I got along with those guys a lot better than I did with neurotypical people. Which, on a little side note, guys, as you guys know, I got this tattoo of the hand coming out of the water. Reaching for air is basically what it means. It means that I was reaching for help, but no one was there. And the strongest hands that usually help oneself is the hands that help themselves. So I have been steadily helping myself to get better over time. Don't get me wrong, it has taken me 20 years to basically pull my finger out to go to the counsellor or a trauma specialist to sort out the ongoing struggles that I will always have within my mind and within my emotions. And don't get me wrong, guys, there has been a few times in a few years ago, there was a few times where I almost done something with my own hands. I'm not going to say it here, but I think you guys can figure that out. Let's just say that I would have turned my own lights off with my own hands, but I do believe that I have been stopped by those situations to basically stay here. I do feel like that I do have a purpose on this planet, whether or not that is to do YouTube or whatever, or help other people. And not only that, that's why I also go to Alcoholics Anonymous, which comes to the next little step. Once we hit the age of 18, we did start drinking religiously every weekend. It was about 12 beers over the weekend, and progressively over the years, as you know, the more you drink, the more your body tolerates it, so the more and more you need to drink to get the same effect of being drunk, or getting the feeling of drunkenness, the euphoria. And there is one thing that comes out of it, and I call it liquid courage, for a very simple fact. It gives you that feeling of confidence and everything else in between, which is what I was after, because I had very low self-esteem. When we went to AA, it has taken us about 2 years to realise that alcohol wasn't all that I thought it was going to be. I mainly used it for a crutch to, or even self-medicate from all the things that have transpired, all the negative things. But being in AA, it has taught me something valuable, that we can't hold on to the past. What has happened back then is obviously back there for a reason, and it is not in the present moment, and it isn't in our future. And that is a very beautiful thing about AA, is it teaches you that it's okay to feel these feelings, but it's not okay to let them, as you would say, take over our present lives, because what that is doing is it's taking away a lot of our joy and happiness. And nowadays, I am a lot happier than what I was, for a very simple fact that I'm not living as much in that past, those moments, those memories, those painful things, and everything else in between. I'm living in the here and now. Like, when I look around, I see a lot of things. I see the fireplace, I see the green grass, I see the birds flying around in the sky, I see the blue sky, I see the clouds, I see all the houses, I see the lemon tree and everything else in between. And that is a beautiful thing in my books, and that is a beautiful thing about AA as well, is it's teaching me to be in the present moment and not dwell on the things that I cannot change. All the things that have transpired in my past, I cannot change them. But what I can do in this present moment is I can change the things that happen now, and I can change how I move forward into the future. And that in itself is a very beautiful thing, and I know a lot of people would question it and everything else in between, but it's about being mindful. It's about being in the moment of life, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Yesterday's history, and today is a gift. And that is one of the biggest things that I have learned in the present moment, is live your life how you see fit, within reason. That's not going to hurt you or anyone else. And the type of person I am now, especially with all of that in the past, is very simple. I'm very nice, very kind, friendly. I'll talk to you, I'll help you the best I can, but in saying that, I don't tolerate a lot of disrespect anymore, because it's basically disrupting a lot of my inner peace that I've been working for to get, and everything else in between. There is a couple of people that I work with that are playing funny buggers at the moment. One person was accusing me for taking keys that I didn't even touch, and when I put the keys that I was using back in the hook or key box, basically rang me up and said, the van keys spontaneously showed up when you put your keys back. Well, to be honest with you, dude, I checked the van, I checked my pockets and everything else. There was nothing in my pockets that represented the keys for that van. So yeah, he was playing a bit of a funny bugger, and because of that, I'm basically going to do nothing for the guy anymore. Another guy down where we do our deliveries, we take a lot of bread crates down full of bread to basically to deliver to those guys, and we didn't have space in back here in the store here, and I basically told him we didn't have any space, and he kept persisting, and I basically told him, don't dictate what I do. If I told you that we don't have space, then we don't have space. So he cracked the shits and put everything on the van, and basically ignored what I said and went over the top of me and just put it in the van regardless. And mind you, he's not a boss. I'm not contractually obligated to basically do whatever he says. So yeah, got a bit of an issue with these two at the moment, but yeah, I'm basically going to be cutting them off. And that's why a lot of the time I don't usually deal with a lot of people, because there's nothing but bloody drama with certain people, and you can't satisfy these people regardless of what you do. So Yeah, there's, I know that there's people out there that's gonna do everything in their power to try and dictate what you do and overpower you and everything else in between. So, best thing to do is remove yourself from those people and just avoid them as best you can, which is what I'm going to try and do. Unfortunately, one of them is my boss, so that doesn't exactly help the situation. But anyway, big reason why a lot of the time I do like to play video games as well, which I got me PlayStation 3 back and me PlayStation 5 gaming laptop, is it's a nice reprieve from focusing too much on all the crap that goes on along in me bloody head. As you guys can imagine, it does get quite chaotic, and it seems that the PlayStation, or gaming for that matter, does seem to quieten it down. But the only damn problem with that is it does consume quite a lot of time up from the other things that we want to do, especially being outside. But yeah, I do love my simple things, guys. Gaming, reading, collecting some very unique things such as dolls and a sorting hat. Got a little skeleton up there that does come apart. There's a few other bits and pieces throughout that whole black display case. There's another little doll in there, some goblets and whatever else, Ouija boards and all that sort of fun stuff. Not only that, as you guys know, I have gone down a path of spirituality with crystals and all that sort of thing to connect more to nature. As you guys know, we do like to be outside when we can. Some of the other things that we do enjoy is going out for a hike, going out for a fish, going camping for a couple of days to wherever. Even in the middle of bloody winter, I'll go out and do it. I don't care. I don't mind. Even do a little, like a night car camp or whatever. Just go out somewhere and basically camp up in the car for the night and spend a couple of hours out in the middle of nowhere amongst the trees and whatever else, and basically enjoy oneself away from all the hustle and bustle of society. Well, there's not really much more to tell, to be absolutely honest with you guys. I had a bit of a unique upbringing. Tried to turn the light off a couple times, which has failed quite every single time. As you guys can imagine, if it was successful, I wouldn't be here today. And I can look back on those situations and sometimes I can laugh at it, sometimes it brings a tear to the eye, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. Yes, I do enjoy the quieter life than anything else, away from nightclubs, pubs and everything else in between, and large groups, parties and everything else in between. Henceforth is why a lot of the time I do spend a lot of time in this very room. Because a person like me with autism, ADHD, and with bad experiences in the past, we do intend to make up a safe zone, and well, this room is my safe zone. So yeah, I do want to make more places safe zones, like down at Graham's Dam, which is in the Lurdy-Durg, which I've been there once or twice before, as you guys would have remembered with the filming it, and basically enjoying that little hike without basically causing oneself to have a bloody heart attack. As you guys can imagine, we're not the fittest people. And yes, I must admit, there would have been a lot of lonely times without Miss Baxter here as well. She has certainly entertained us quite a few times in the past with her companionship, and she, as I said in a couple of videos back, she is like a 2-year-old. She gets into everything, and that certainly keeps our hands full and everything else in between, so she is quite an entertaining young lady. But yes, that is pretty much my life wrapped up in a sum, guys. Bit of a rough upbringing, but I still enjoyed certain aspects of childhood, I had to grow up pretty quick for certain things, and realizing can't rely on certain people, and basically having a disdain towards certain people and everything else in between. But we do like our company more so than not, and obviously young Miss Baxter's as well. She certainly has been, as you would say, entertaining. And I have met quite a few beautiful people over my time. I know that one of you guys does watch my channel, Mr. Jeff, in other words. My name is Jeff. You're a legend, fella. You really are. We got to go fishing at some point, mate. Not sure when, not sure where, but we gotta tee it up at some point in the future. Go for a bit of a fish. I would love that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I am in a pretty good spot at the moment, and don't get me wrong, I still have me good days and bad days like everyone else, but things are always looking on the up and up, so that's always good in every aspect. But there is one final message that I would love to give out to you guys. If anyone else has ever experienced sexual abuse in any way, shape or form, life is worth living. Those people that did that to you, they ain't worth your time or thoughts or anything else in between. And yes, definitely go get the help that you need, because if you don't, it's only going to cheer you up and spit you out the other bloody side without any second thought. So my suggestion to you is don't give up. Don't throw it all away because of what they did to you. They're the one with the problem, not you. Don't make it your problem, because the more that you sit there and dwell on it, the more harmful it's going to be. So go get help and everything else in between, because that is the best thing you could do for yourself, is seek professional help. But in saying that, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. There's not really much else to tell. Basically, one very boring life, as you would say. So in saying that, guys, I am going to put the camera down so it is an arrivederci for now. I will see you guys in the next video. And if this is giving you guys a bit more of an enlightenment on one particular fella, then sweet. And if this has really opened your eyes, sweet. And everything else in between. But either way, I will see you guys in the next video. As always, keep it cheesy.